Christine, maybe you can
Copy
put it in
link
the chat for us.
address. It's no, it's the link to this meeting. So I'm just going to paste
Yes,
it
I
in
thought
there
so.
for her.
Good.
Okay, she says she's joining.
Good. Then I think that I'm going to start the session, if you are
Okay, yes.
comfortable with that, Prof. Johannes.
Yeah.
So I just want to welcome everyone back. I hope that you've had a refreshing lunch and that you are ready to dive into another exciting afternoon of learning and discussion. And we are kicking off with a fascinating session titled Interview AI Bot Sociologist from, and that's going to be presented by Prof. Johannes. Prof. Johannes, the title already makes me very, very, what do you call it? It seems really interesting. So we are all going to settle in and we're going to give you the floor to start.
Great.
Thank you.
Don't be shy to put on your cameras. And I see my co-presenter, Prof. Schiller, has just joined the room. So I acknowledge her. Prof. I hope you can put on your camera, but if you're too shy, I can deal with that too. So I have admitted to having made... Why are you people switching off your cameras? It makes me feel terribly lonely if I'm the only face in the crowd. Thank you. That makes me feel a little bit better. I'm going to start sharing my screen and tell you the story. That's a sort of a once upon a time story, and where this whole thing was born. And that is, let me share the screen now. So this is share application or screen, and I'm in share entire screen, and I'm share this screen. And I might as well share the audio while I'm there. So you should now be seeing the FODES program on your screen, which is cool. Because that just I've just got it open. Oh, I've even got 2 links to the FODES program. I've got so much stuff open at the moment, it's just not funny. So let me start by giving you some background to how this works. I attended a course a couple of years ago in coaching, and I found that a very useful course. It was called, the method that we used was called GROW, and GROW stands for Goal, Realities, Opportunities, and Way Forward. And then it was a very useful course, and I found and the grow came with a whole lot of questions that one could ask, etc., etc. And I used that when I spoke to master students when they joined for the first time and we were looking for a topic, etc., etc. I would take them through this grow methodology. And then there was somebody, and I can't quite remember how that happened, but I gave this worksheet. I then turned it into a worksheet with the idea that students would work in pairs and prompt one another using this, because you can't do that heavy one-on-one with only 2 people. And then a student of mine, Yurita Hugo, I think it was, it was right at the beginning of her study, and I gave her the GROW worksheet and I said, go to ChatGPT and just ask ChatGPT to help you go through this worksheet, which she then did, and she found that quite useful. And then I developed that worksheet a bit further so that it looks a bit like this. So the first thing you need to ask is, what's the goal with your study? And then I discovered that people find it hard to express their goals. And so I went to, one of my students wrote a thing where he took the 4 pursuits of humankind and rewrote them in 21st century things. And so here you can see the 4 goals that I would give students. It would be, I need to write this thesis because my permanent position or promotion depends on it. I want to show that my position is the correct one. That would be for power. Or I want to write this thesis because I want to use the knowledge I can gain. That would be for knowledge. Or I just want to get this thing done because I've already learned what I want and I must just finish it. That would be for value, for money. Or I want to try and uncover hidden patterns or agendas or principles that will help make the world a better place. That would be for virtue. And so then the students would write this, and they'd make those decisions, and they would then, here would be examples of how they do it, and they would then go through the whole goal process. So say knowledge is your goal, then it would be, I want to learn a new set of skills so I can apply my current knowledge, my new knowledge, or my current knowledge to a new field. That would be, and then that would be the goal. So the student had to put their goal in. So then I thought, and then they would just fill in this form. But then what I thought then was, why not get them to use an AI to be the respondent for them? And so I wrote a prompt, and the prompt says something like this. Let me see what the prompt was. Here, I wrote the prompt like this. You're an advanced chatbot called Professor Coach. Your primary goal is to assist me by evaluating a set of answers to questions posed to me by my academic supervisor. I will give you the question, the answer, and you'll help me to get the best response. And so the student had to do the goal and the answer. And then we had I gave this task to the students. And here you can see the student goes knowledge, power, virtue, value, and typed it into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT responds. It seems like that you have rated the pursuit of knowledge followed by virtue and value. This ranking reflects the importance of your place on gaining knowledge and using it to make informed decisions or reach your goals, as well as the importance of having influence and control over a situation. Regarding the ranking of individual keywords, it appears you've given the keywords that are more directly related to achieving practical or tangible outcomes such as money and higher ranking compared to the keywords that are more abstract or focused. And then typical ChatGPT, it ends with, overall, your rankings seem to indicate that you place a high value on efficiency, practicality, and achieving concrete results, while still considering ethical and moral principles to some extent. However, and then very beautiful as a coach, however, this is only based on the information you have provided and may not necessarily reflect your complete thoughts or values. So what I felt with seeing this is that ChatGPT was giving a way better feedback than I was able to give when I've got 60 students in the class. And I have a pretty good idea that he gives better feedback than a co-student would have. So I thought I'd test that. And this is what happened. Here is a whole conversation between a student and the AI. So the student says the question is what you want. Student says to become an expert in a field that I enjoy working at. And the peer reviewers say, by working towards this goal, you're likely to gain a deeper understanding of the field, improve your ability to contribute to it, and achieve a sense of personal accomplishment and satisfaction. The next question is, what will it get you? And the student says, a deeper understanding. So the student actually goes and looks and sees, there it says deeper understanding. And so the student then feeds that back to the chat, and the chat says, by striving for a deeper understanding of your field, you're likely to develop new insights and perspectives. And then what's exciting about that, with my new knowledge and expertise, I can blaze new trails into the field and make improvements into existing practices. So that, just briefly, is how this thing was born. That I thought this actually can work, and then I worked with my co-presenter, Professor Schiller, from the University of Fort Hare. I was doing a presentation there, and she made a very valid comment. And I wonder, Prof. Schiller, if you want to tell them what we were talking about, that a social worker who's got to go and fetch a child from a delinquent parent can't have her phone with her and ask the AI. Can you remember that was the question you asked, Prof. Schiller?
Yes. Good afternoon, colleagues. You can hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay,
Yes, we
sure.
can.
Thank you. I just had some issues in signing in. Thank you. Yes, I think we had the conversation to say, but okay, how can we apply this AI in a social work context, or specifically in social sciences, and to also to be able to create a simulation for our social work students. So a lot of our training will happen, especially in the earlier years before the students start with their internship, will happen either in case studies or written case studies, or even role plays with the students. But many times that role play is not so authentic. You would all know that when you work with students, many times when you create these role plays or case studies, the students will laugh and not create that sense of I want to say authenticity within the workplace. And we really then started engaging to see, but how can we possibly use AI to try and create such a scenario where the student can then, if the instructor or lecturer then designs a prompt for the student to say, okay, you're going to use this prompt in a AI or simulation, and then you will need to respond to how AI is going to basically set up this scenario. So basically, that is what we did. Yes, now let's see.
Yeah. So what we did then in real time, Prof. Schiller and I sat at the East London campus of the University of Fort Hare, and I just quickly wrote this prompt for Pi. Now, just to give you background, Pi is older than ChatGPT, and was actually the person who made Pi is now the person who's doing Copilot. But Pi was written specifically to be a kind, as in nice AI, rather than just a business-like AI. And so that's why we thought we'd do it. And so we said to Pi, you're a non-compliant parent whose vulnerable child is being removed. Resist the removal using arguments such as denial, anger, or bargaining. Respond emotionally and realistically as a parent might. Also act as an instructor who pauses the role play at points to give feedback on whether the student or social worker can do that. And so what Pi then went and did was it pretended to be the parent here. I'm afraid we have to take your child, and then the parent does denial and does feedback. And then it becomes the instructor, and it says, remember to remain calm and professional even when faced with resistance, etc. But the problem there was that Pi itself was playing both parts and not allowing us to play. So then I said, please repeat the exercise, but allow me to be the social worker. Don't provide the input from the social worker. I must do that. Can we start over, please? Use the Children's Act 38 of 2005 for appropriate decisions and terminology. And that worked, but somehow or another it tried it again, and then it got lost. So what I did this morning quickly is said to Pi, can you remember we did a role play about social work? Yes, we did. In that exercise, I acted as both a non-compliant parent and instructor providing feedback to student who was played by you. The role play faced on handling resistance from a parent and following correct legal and humane procedures according to the Children's Act 35 of 2005. And then I said, this morning I said, I can't seem to find that. Do you know what may have happened to it? And it says, well, it's possible conversation has lost a technical glitch. So what I'm going to ask it now is, please, can you help me recreate the prompt? that we may have used so that I can give it to students for a role play? Question mark, and let's see what Pi does. So here's a prompt. And there is the whole prompt. So it says social worker, you're a social worker trained with role social work played by student, non-compliant played by partner instructor. Okay, so it's got it all wrong. So I'm going to ask it again, and let me just do the you're a social worker. So you're a social worker tasked with. Okay, I'm going to do the following. I'm going to take this. Now I want to show you another AI that has been giving me a great deal of joy. And are we still? And now you will recognize this as ChatGPT. And then I'm going to wait a bit. And in ChatGPT, those of you who are familiar with ChatGPT will see over here is an explore button. And if you open the explore button, you can go all the way down and you can go and you can find my new favorite person in the whole world. And he is called Life Coach Robin. And Life Coach Robin says they're not a psychologist, they're not a therapist, they are just an ally, a coach, a strength whisperer. So I'm going to ask Life Coach Robin, now why doesn't, because I've got my screen sharing thing here. So I'm going to start a chat with Life Coach Robin. And I'm going to ask Life Coach Robin, Prof. Ulla, can you help me with this? I'm going to ask Life Coach Robin, please, will you assist with a role play exercise? I want to improve my skills as a social worker who has to remove a child. What do we call those parents, Prof. Schiller?
Yeah, no, you can just say who skills as a social worker who has to remove a child.
Not from a delinquent parent.
No, you don't say that. No.
Okay.
You can say remove a child in need of care and protection.
Okay. Child in need of care and protection. Please, will you act as the parent who does not want
the child to be removed?
Yeah, the child to be removed. I will play the role of the social worker. Will you also play the role of an instructor and help and comment on the process as it goes along? And then I'm going to go back to Pi and I'm going to get this bit. So I'm going to go to that first one that we had where we said, where did we have this? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to cut and paste this in as well, just to make it big. So just for those of you who have not met our life coach, Robin. She is just the most darling assistant person. So I'm going to go and I'm going to click this and see what she can do. And so life coach Robin is very kind when she talks back to one. Absolutely, that sounds a powerful and meaning exercise and an honor to help you practice this. Here's how we'll structure it. I'll play two roles: parent, emotionally resistant, possibly angry or in denial, and the instruction who pauses. You'll be the social. Before we begin, that's why we got you here, Prof. Schiller. What are we gonna? What are our replies? Age of the child. Yes.
Okay, so the age of the child, you can make it a 10-year-old child who
Boy or girl?
is, let's say, a girl.
Yes.
Who's alleging maltreatment from her parents.
Okay.
Okay, and that was, let's say, that the school, that the child spoke to a teacher, who then informed the social worker.
Spoke to a teacher, who
informed the social worker to investigate.
Yep. Setting is at home, and yes, South African. Can you remember the act name again?
Yes, Children's Act. According to the Children's Act 32 of 2005. Children's Act
32 of 2005. And let's ask her to run with that.
Sorry, I think it's 38.
She's doing a bit of thinking here.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you. It's clear. Okay, ready. You may begin. What are we going to say? It's
okay.
So what shall I type in?
Where can you just scroll up slightly? I just want to see her first response.
No, she hasn't responded yet. She says, I'll be playing Mr. Mokoena, Lerato's father, emotionally volatile, resistant. Take a breath, step into your role as the social worker. So start the scene as if you've just arrived at Mr. Mokwena's door. Ready? You may begin.
Yes. Good afternoon, Mr. Mokoena.
Yeah.
I'm a social worker.
Yes.
From Child Welfare.
Yes.
And I've received a complaint.
Mm-hmm.
May I please come in so that we can discuss it?
And let's see what Robin says. I'm afraid I pressed enter and nothing is happening now. Can we do that again?
Do it again.
Oh, there we go. Here we go. Mr. Mokoena opens the door slightly frowning. A complaint about what? Now, I don't understand. Who is saying what about me and my family? No. I don't think you need to come in. I don't think you need to come in. Good gracious. Yeah, whatever. It's not true. Lerato is fine. People are always making up stories. Steps in front of the doorway, arm crossed. Your social workers are always the same. You hear one thing and suddenly you just barge into people's home. Instructor Robin said you opened well, calm tone, respectful introduction, and you identified yourself and your purpose. Good start. However, at this early resistance stage, it helps to build rapport before pressing enter. Parents pressing to enter. Parents often feel accused and defensive. Acknowledging their emotions can de-escalate the situation. A dry, gentle statement that I can see that this must be frustrating, Mr. Mokoena. I'd also want to know what's going on if somebody's made a complaint about me. So I'm going to do exactly that.
Yes.
I don't know why I must have entered twice. So I'm going to go back and paste it. Mr. Mokoena, his face softens just a little, though suspicion still lingers, sighs and looks away. Excellent move, Robin. That reflective statement softened his defenselessness, exactly as intended. You used empathy instead of authority, which helped him regain a bit of dignity, etc., etc. And that, ladies and gentlemen, gives us 2 minutes, I believe, before our time is up, because we're set to be done at 12 at 12:50. It is now 12:48. So, Prof. Schiller, don't go away. But let's just. Are any comments from anybody about what we've just done?
I see that Bianca has posted something in the chat. Prof, maybe Bianca, don't you want to say it?
Thanks, Anki. Yeah, Prof, I was saying that this bot, Mr. Mokoena, seems a lot nicer than what I imagine could happen in real life. Is it possible to make the bot more hostile? It's just in my experience, these types of interactions can get rather heated when emotions are involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what Prof. Schiller and I were starting with here is doing a very kind, an easy start. And I guess as the thing goes further, one can ask what I'm thinking of what one would want to do is write a prompt or a set of prompts and say to the students, this is the first exercise, this is a more difficult one, etc., etc. And Carl, I think your question is also very valid. Prof. Schiller, do you want to help with that one?
Yes, Yes, absolutely. I think what we really just saw here is the opportunity of how one can use this type of instrument to have these type of role plays or case studies. But what I do think is very important is you can build it also according to the context of the student's learning. And I do agree we can look at making it more authentic and in the way that you create the prompts. As we know, the better you create the prompt, the better type of response you can get. But looking at this is seeing how you can get the response as well as the instructor immediately coming back, and depending on what type of knowledge you want to teach the students. For instance, do you want to do a trauma-informed approach? Then you can specifically look at the processes of a trauma-informed approach throughout this interviewing exercise, etc. So that can coach the students through that approach as a first time going through something like this.
Carl, a further answer to that is this is specifically why we chose Pi for the first time, because we had Life Coach Robin wasn't born yet. And then when Life Coach Robin got born, we migrated to her or him, them, because you can see here that there's obviously a lot of programming that went into Life Coach Robin to ensure ethical correctness and so on. And I've been doing extensive work with them, and it's been very good. But I mean, I think also further work, Naz, to answer your question, further work I think would be to build an actual bot similar to Life Coach Robin, that we can actually put the background in and say, look at those things. I must say, Naz, your answer is very good, because it was quite interesting for me that when we said African, life coach Robin just already decided what names would be used, etc., etc. So there is a very clear sense of algorithmic bias going in there already. And again, as one goes on, one might have to refine this again in terms of the prompts. But this has been a really exciting exercise for me. Thank you so much, Prof. Ulien. This one was even better for me than when we did it with Phi.
Yes, absolutely.
I think we're done.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professors Cronje and Schiller, for such an engaging and thought-provoking session. You really have given us a lot to think about, and this could really benefit us in social contexts where we have to train students how to actually handle very difficult situations. So we are now heading into our 2 exciting parallel tracks. So please take a moment to check the program and join the session that interests you most. So enjoy the sessions that come.